Hello all, welcome to my channel Weight Lecture. Today we will discuss multiple choice questions on animal nutrition. Question number first. The nitrogen carbon balance experiment have been used to obtain data on the option A, gain or loss of body protein or fat, option B, gain or loss of body carbohydrate, option C, all, option D, none. The right answer is option A, that is gain or loss of body protein or fat. Actually, the nitrogen carbon balance experiment have been used to obtain data on gain or loss of body protein or fat. Actually, the main form of that energy which is stored in that body is in the form of protein and fat. Very few carbohydrate reserve is present in the body, and the quantity of that protein and fat that is stored in the body is estimated by carrying out the carbon and nitrogen's balance trial. In this method, the amount of this carbon and nitrogen elements enter in the body and that leaving the body is calculated, and by getting the differences, the amount retained in the body is calculated. The quantity of a protein stored is calculated by multiplying that nitrogen's balance by 6.25, since that body protein is assumed to contain 16% nitrogen. Similarly, the amount of that fat stored in the body is calculated by multiplying that carbon balance by 1.34, because that carbon because the fat contain about 74.6% carbon. Okay. Question number 2. The data obtained from comparative slaughter trial indicate that the net energy for maintenance requirement for both steer and heifer is equal to about option A 0.077 megacal per kg body weight power 0.75, option B 0.770 megacal per kg body weight power 0.75, option C all, option D none. The right answer is, that is option A, which is 0.077 megacal per kg body weight power 0.75. The data obtained from that comparatively lateral trial indicate that the net energy for that maintenance requirement for both steer and heifer is equal to 0.077 megacal per kg body weight power 0.75, that is 77 kcal, while for in case of that lactating animal it is equal to 0.080 megacal per kg body weight power 0.75. Let's see what is comparative slaughter trial. It is the most accurate method for determining recovered energy. In this method, at first that a group of animal we fed a same common diet up to for 2 weeks, and then we slaughter certain portion of that group of animal and that grind that carcass and organ and determine that energy which is present on whole body, which is we indicate that even, and then again we feed several level of feed to that remaining animal for a certain period of time, and again we slaughter that remaining animal and grind the carcass and organ and determine that E2 on whole body. In this way, that return energy is calculated by minus that E2 by minus E1, and similarly that net energy is equal to mcal per kg, that is retained energy when divided by dry matter intake, we get net energy. And in case of that net energy for maintenance, body weight gain or lactation, we also it determined by mean of regression. Okay. Question number 3. In a respiration apparatus where the same air is continuously circulated with provisions for the removal of that waste product and that addition of oxygen is known as option A, closed circuit type respiration apparatus, open circuit type respiration apparatus, C, none, D, all. The right answer is option A, that is closed circuit type respiratory apparatus. In an open type respiratory apparatus, that air is exhaled directly into that the atmosphere, while in case of closed circuit device, exhaled air is recycled by using that alkaline scrubber, which is used to remove that carbon dioxide, and again that consumed oxygen is replenished by mean of that oxygen which is supplied from that solid, liquid or gaseous source. Okay. Question number 4. Glucose when given to that fasting animal, avoiding that rumen fermentation, would be utilized without any increase in heat production. or in other word with apparent calorimetric efficiency of about option A 100%, option B 50%, option C 80%, option D none. The right answer is option A, that is 100%. When glucose is given to that fasting animal, that avoiding that rumen fermentation, it is utilized without any increase in heat production, and its efficiency is that 100%. Okay, question number 5. Kellner starch equivalent values are values for option A body fat production, option B net calorie return, option C none, option D all. The right answer is option A, that is body fat production. Actually, Kellner's starch equivalent values are values for body fat production. 1 kg of starch, when fed in excess to that maintenance requirement, it produces 248 gram of body fat. Since 1 gram of fat is equivalent to 9.5 kilocal, so that net energy value for 1 kg of starch for fattening is 248 multiplied by 9.5, that is 2360 kilocal, which is 2.36 megacal. Kellner expressed this energy value of the feed steps by its fat producing ability relative to that of pure starch. Taking starch as a unit, the fat producing power of a protein, fat, carbohydrate was calculated by him as follows. 1 kg of digestible starch produced 248 gram of body fat. Its starch equivalent value is 248 by 248, which is 1. Similarly, the 1 kg of digestible protein produced 235 gram of body fat. Its starch equivalent value will be 235 divided by 248, which is 0.95 starch equivalent. Okay. Question number 6. The Scandinavian feed unit system evaluate food in terms of the production they promote in the animal and is in a relation to the value of a common food. Option A maize, option B barley, option C oats, option D none. The right answer is option B, that is barley. Scandinavian feed unit system evaluate food in terms of their production they promote in the animal, and it is relation to that common food, that is barley. Actually, that Professor Zod formulated the Scandinavian feeding system. In the system, only one factor, namely the feed unit, was taken into account. The value of 1 pound of that common grain, such as corn, barley, or wheat, is given as one unit value, and the value of other food is based upon this. According to this standard, one feed unit is required for each 150 pound of body weight, and additional 1 unit is required for every 3 pound of milk production. This feeding standard was based upon the actual milk production record of the farm. Okay. Further, as per modification, this standard was modified, and in this case, that addition feed unit was that calculated in terms of the digestible crude protein, since like 0.065 pound of digestible crude protein required for per 100 pounds of body weight, and additional 0.05 pound of digestible crude protein per pounds of milk productions. So this is another method. Okay. Um, Question number 7. The efficiency of utilization of metabolizable energy for lactation is around option A 70%, option B 20%, option C 50%, option D none. The right answer is option A, that is 70%. The efficiency of utilization of metabolizable energy for lactation is around 70%. Let's see that partition of feed energy. Okay, gross energy is the total energy which is present in a feed which we intake, minus when we minus that the energy which is present in feces, then we get that digestible energy, and when we minus that energy which is lost in that urine and methane from the digestible energy, we get metabolizable energy. And when we minus that energy which is used in that increment of heat of body heat from that metabolizable energy, we get net energy, and this net energy is used for maintenance purpose and for production purpose. Okay. Question number 8. The idea that the feed requirement of a lactating animal must vary in accordance with the composition of milk was first recognized by option A Hiker, Option B, Kellner. Option C, Thyre. Option D, none. The right answer is option A, that is Haeckel. The idea that the feed requirement of a lactating animal must vary in accordance with that composition of the milk was first recognized by Haeckel, and then similar that windy systems of proximate analysis is given by Weinberg and Stoneman, and the founder of the science of nutrition or father of nutrition is Antony Laurent Lavoisier. And similarly, pure vitamin C was isolated by White and King. Scandinavian feeding system based on barley as the standard is introduced by Hansen. Starch equivalent system was designed by Kellner. First accurate respiration calorie meter is constructed by Rubner, and physiological fuel value was devised by Atwater. Okay. Question number 9. Largest unit of energy measurement is option A, erg, option B, joule, option C, calories or kilocal, option D, watt. The right answer is option C, which is calories or kilocal. Unit of energy, that is calories, kilocalories or joule, while watt is the unit of power, and 1 kilocalories is equal to 1000 calories, 1 calories is equal to 4.2 joule, and 1 gram calories is equal to 4.184 into 10 to the power 7 erg. Question number 10. Number of high energy phosphate bond which is present in ATP is option A 1, option B 2, option C 3, option 4 D. Option D 4. Okay, the right answer is option B, that is 2. Number of that high energy phosphate bond which is present is 2. And similarly, some other fact about ATP, that is reserve form of ATP which is stored in muscles is creatine and phosphate. And similarly, that ATP is actually a nucleotide that consists of three main structure, that is the nitrogenous base which is adenine, the sugar ribose, and a chain of three phosphate group which is bound to that ribose. And this phosphate tail of ATP is the actual power source which cell tap. Okay, question number 11, that is gross energy per gram is maximum in option A acetic acid, option B butyric acid, option C lactic acid, option D stearic acid. The right answer is option D, that is stearic acid. Among all options, that the gross energy value is maximum in stearic acid. That gross energy value of feed is the amount of that heat which is liberated when it is burned in a bomb calorimeter. And similarly, the gross energy in feces comes from both undigested feed as well as metabolic debris and secretion. Question number 12. Instrument used for measuring energy metabolism in animal is known as option A respiration calorimeter, option B bomb calorimeter, option C psychometric chamber, option D none. The right answer is option A, which is respiration calorimeter. Respiration calorimeter is an apparatus for measuring the gaseous actions between a man or a lower animal and that surrounding atmosphere with particular reference to that oxygen consumed and carbon dioxide eliminated, and simultaneously the quantity of that energy which is given out in the form of heat and work in order to determine the relation of this factor to the food and drink consumed and to body activities is also calculated. Okay, similarly that, but in case of a bomb calorimeter, it actually measure the gross caloric value of that feed. In this device, that the amount of that heat which is liberated while the feed is burned is calculated. Okay, while that psychometric chamber is a part of the air conditioner which is responsible for creating consistent conditions of like temperature, humidity, pressures, and airflow. Question number 13. For fat productions in body, highest ATP is formed by option A acetic acid, option B propionate, option C protein, option D glucose. The right answer is option D, that is glucose. For fat productions in body, highest ATP is formed by glucose among following all options. Question number 14. Identify the measures of net energy. Option A, TDN, that is total digestible nutrient. Option B, SE, Scandinavian starch equivalent value. Option C, nutrition's ratio, or option D, all. The right answer is option B, that is starch equivalent unit. Okay, Kellner's starch equivalent value are that value for body fat production, while net energy is actually used for that maintenance purpose and for production purpose, since body fat production also comes under productions purpose, while that TDN talks about digestible energy, since TDN measures how much quantity of fodder is digested and how much quantity is wasted. Similarly, nutritive ratio is that ratio of that digestible protein to that other nutrient in a food stuffs or ration, measures of the value of that feeding rations of the growth or milk productions compared with its fattening value. Okay. Question number that is 15. Highest priority for metabolic energy used in body is option A for body growth, option B for work, option C fetus growth, option D for maintenance. The right answer is option C, that is fetus growth. First priority for metabolic energy is growth of fetus, followed by other. Metabolizable energy is used for heat increment, voluntary activity, vessels, metabolisms, and other as net energy, reproduction, lactation, growth, exercise. Question number 16. The zine is a protein which is option A, readily degraded in the rumen, option B, non-degraded at all in the rumen, option C, slowly degraded in the rumen, option D, none. The right answer is that is option C, which is slowly degraded in the rumen. Zine, which is the maize protein, is slowly degraded in the rumen. Rumen undegradable protein is defined as that portion of the dietary protein that escape that degradation by ruminal microorganisms and is passed into that small intestine for digestion and absorption. About 60% of a protein in that ration should be rumen degradable to meet needs of microbes. Okay. Question number 17. Combustible gas that produced in rumen fermentation is option A, carbon dioxide, option B, methane, option C, nitrogen, option D, hydrogen. The right answer is option B, that is methane. Major gas that produced during rumen fermentations are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogens, and hydrogen in the ratio of 65:27 is to 7 is to 1. Question number 18. Low heat production by rumen. Manipulation is possible through option A, raising methane production, option B, preventing excess ammonia loss, option C, narrowing acetate propionate ratio, option D, none. The right answer is option C, that is narrowing acetate propionate ratio. Low heat production by rumen is possible by manipulation is possible through that narrowing acetate propionate ratio. Out of the total daily heat production of cow fed a maintenance ration, 7 to 8 productions, 7 to 8 7 to 8 percent of that heat productions is from that fermentation of ruminal ingesta. Okay, since that other fact which is related to that rumen is like that anaerobic condition of that rumen is measured by redox potential of the rumen. Similarly, rumen biohydrogenation of fatty acids take place in acids which are that unsaturated, and similarly rumen microbial protein synthesis is limited when that there's a deficiency of that element sulfur in that feed. Rumen butyric acid conversion to ketone bodies take place primarily in that rumen epithelium. Similarly, in presence of large rumen amino acid pools, ammonia conversions to that microbial protein is reduced. Important amino acid source for post-rumen digestion for high production is now considered as undegradable protein. Okay. In spite of energy loss, rumen methanogenesis play also an important role in regeneration of NAD by accepting hydrogen. And then voluntary feed intake in ruminant depend on fast rate of passes of digesta and fluid from rumen. Okay. Question number 19. Computation of ration on total nitrogen basis will have low productive value when quality of roughages is improved, roughages to concentrate ratio is narrow, protein content of ration is raised, option D, none. The right answer is that option B, which is roughages to concentrate ratio is narrow. When that roughages to concentrate ratio is narrow, at the time the uh, like that computation of ration on total nitrogen basis will have, they have that low production value. Okay, when that roughage to concentrate ratio in that ration is narrow, and at the time that the production value of that ration is low is considered. Okay, question number 20. Dietary essential vitamin on straw roughage based on complete diet is option A vitamin B, option B cyanocobalamin, option C vitamin A, option D none. The right answer is option C, that is vitamin A. Since on a diet which is completely dependent on that straw roughages, we should supply that from externally that vitamin A, because that straw lacks vitamin A. Question number 21. Cellulose hydrolysis yield a disaccharides having linkage as option A alpha 1,4 glucose glucose, option B alpha 1,4 glucose mannose, option C beta 1,4 glucose glucose, option D none. The right answer is option C, that is beta 1,4 glucose glucose. Cellulose hydrolysis is a disaccharides which having a linkage as beta 1,4 glucose glucose. As the main component of lignocellulose, cellulose is a biopolymer consisting of many glucose unit connecting to that beta 1,4 glycosidic bond. Breakage of that beta 1,14 glycosidic bond by acid lead to that hydrolysis of cellulose polymer resulting in a sugar molecules glucose. Okay. Question number 22. Major route for recycling urea in a ruminant under low nitrogens and normal carbohydrate intake is option A saliva, option B large intestinal epithelium, option C rumen epithelium, option D none. The right answer is option A, which is saliva. Major route for recycling urea in a ruminant under low nitrogen and normal carbohydrate intake is saliva. Ammonia, which is produced in that liver, is detoxified by conversion to that urea, and that urea can then be is recycled directly into that rumen, small intestine or large intestine. It can then enter the rumen in saliva, and similarly that ammonia is absorbed actually in the case of high pH value. Question number 23. Antibiotic residue in calf starter ration result in better growth response due to option A making potential pathogen virulent, option B raising efficiency of guts enzyme, option C promoting high feed intake, option D all. The right answer is option C promoting high feed intake. Antibiotic residue which is present in calf starter ration result in better growth response due to promoting high feed intake, since antibiotic could increase the rate of growth of young pig and chick when that included in their diet in very small amount. Okay. Question number 24. Tongue is the main prehensile organ of option A horse, option B cattle, option C pig, option D dog. The right answer is option B, that is cattle. Tongue is the major prehensile organ of cattle, while that principal prehensile organ of horse is lips, and pointed lower lips is the major prehensile organ of pigs. Question number 25. The large intestine is the major site of absorption of option A calcium, option B sodium, option C zinc, option D copper. The right answer is option B, that is sodium. The large intestine is the major site of absorption of sodium. Glucose is absorbed in jejunum. In ruminant, water is absorbed in omasum and large intestine. Similarly, calcium is absorbed at duodenum at acidic medium, and iron is absorbed through intestine through active transport. Question number 26. Maltase is produced from which of the following? Option A, mouth, option B, gastric mucosa, option C, small intestine, option D, pancreas. The right answer is small intestine. Maltase is produced from small intestine. Similarly, two type of cells which is present in small intestine, that is exocrine and endocrine cells. Exocrine cells of small intestine produce mucus, peptidase, sucrase, maltase, lactase, lipase, while endocrine cells of small intestine produce secretins and cholecystokinin. Liver secretes bile juice in response to secretins, while bile juice released from gallbladder in response to cholecystokinin. And tyline, which is that salivary amylase, is actually produced from mouth, and renin, pepsin, lipase is produced from that gastric mucosa, while pancreas produce pancreatic juice, which contain enzymes trypsin, chymotrypsin, amylase, lipase, extra. Okay. Question number uh, question number 27. Which is the sweetest carbohydrate? Option A, glucose. Option B, fructose. Option C, sucrose. Option D, lactose. The right answer is option B, that is fructose. Sweetest carbohydrate is fructose. That more sweet carbohydrate, that is fructose, is more sweet than sucrose. Sucrose is more sweet than glucose, and glucose is more sweetest than lactose. That fructose is that monosaccharide with the sweetness of 1.17 to 1.75, while glucose is also a monosaccharide with a sweetness of 0.74 to 0.8. Lactose is that disaccharide with sweetness of 0.16. Okay, percentage of glucose which is present in a sugar of honey is 40%, and that percentage of fructose in sucrose is 50%. Okay. Question number 28. The association of lignin with hemicellulose and cellulose in a feed markedly reduce the digestibility of option A, lignin, option B, hemicellulose, option C, cellulose, option D, pectin. The right answer is that is cellulose. The association of that lignin with that hemicellulose and cellulose in a feed markedly reduce that digestibility of cellulose too. Okay. Question number 29. The net gain of ATP per mole of acetic acid when absorbed and metabolized in ruminant is option A, 10 ATP, option B, 12, option C, 17, option D, 25. The right answer is option A, that is 10 ATP. The net gain per mole of acetic acid when absorbed and metabolized in ruminant is 10 ATP. The net gain of ATP per mole of glycerol is 22 ATP. The net gain of ATP per mole of butyric acid is 25 ATP. The net gain of ATP per mole of propionic acid is 17. The net gain of ATP per mole of glycogen anaerobically and that aerobically are 3 and 39 respectively. 1 mole of palmitic acid gave 130 ATP. 1 mole of glucose metabolism when aerobically and anaerobically produce 38 and 2 ATP respectively. Question number 30. Oils are generally those lipids which are liquid at option A, 15 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius, or 30 degrees Celsius. The right answer is option B, that is 20 degrees Celsius. Oils are generally those lipids which are liquid at 20 degrees Celsius. The main difference between fats and oil is that fat are composed of high amount of saturated fatty acid which is solid at room temperature, while oils are composed of high amount of that unsaturated fatty acid which are liquid at room temperature. Okay. Question number 31. Water content of the body of a newborn calf is less than option A, 50%, 60%, 70%, or option D, 80%. The right answer is that is option D, 80%. Water content of the body of a newborn calf is less than 80%. The water content of the body of the steed is more than 40%. Percentage of water in animal body is 73% of the total body weight. Out of that, intracellular water is 70% of total water, while extracellular water is 30% of total water. Percentage of water in spinal fluid is 99%. Percentage of water in dentine is 10%. Percentage of water in blood is 82%. Percentage of water in fatty acid is 0%. Water contained in grain is 30 to 40%. Water contained decreases as seed mature. Water requirement for zebu cattle is less than Bose Taurus. Body water is inversely proportionate to fat content and age of animal. Maximum water is present in gastrointestinal tract and urinary tract of animal. Other than water content, protein percentage in the fat in the body of sheep is about 16%. Ash percentage in body of sheep is about 4.4%. Calcium percentage in body of steer is about 1.3%. Okay. Question number 32. Most of the magnesium is present in option A, blood, option B, blood plasma, option C, muscles, option D, bone. The right answer is option D, that is bone. Most of that magnesium is present in bone. Metal that presents in pinnaglobulin is manganese, and that hemocyanin contain copper. Question number 33. During digestion, bile acid helps in option A, fat degradation, option B, emulsification of fat, option C, fat absorption, option D, fat mobilization. The right answer is that is option B, that is emulsification of fat. During digestion, bile acids help in emulsification of fat. The process of emulsification of fats occurs in the small intestine where that bile salts acts upon on fat and they are broken into small aggregates. This process adds that lipase enzymes to act upon on that fat by providing larger surface area and digestion of fat takes place. Note that bile salt is actually made of the bile acids that are conjugated with glycines or taurine. Glycobile and taurobile acids are referred as conjugated bile acids. Okay. Question number 34. Which is the most effective essential fatty acids? Option A, oleic. Option B, linoleic. Option C, linolenic. Option D, arachidonic. The right answer is option B, linoleic. Most effective essential fatty acid is linoleic acid. Question number 35. From the standpoint of nutrition, the important distinguished features of that various protein is their option A, nitrogen content, option B, prosthetic groups, option C, amino acid makeup, option D, nitrogen to sulfur ratio. The right answer is their amino acids makeup. From the standpoint of nutrition, the important distinguishing features from that various protein is their amino acids makeup. Okay, one protein's amino acids makeup is differ from that another protein's amino acids makeup. Okay, that's much for today class. Another other sessions I will come from that uh, with new questions in another videos too. Okay.